Hello there. Good day, everyone, from wherever you are in the world, on the planet, whatever time of day it is for you. Ciao. So we are going to be talking today about using child themes in WordPress. So this is geared at either newbie developers and designers or people who've been working in the design and development realm for a little while. You're somewhat familiar with WordPress and you have at least created an installation of WordPress before, if not played around with using WordPress. So definitely beginner friendly, but if there's some topics that you don't understand, then feel free to pause the video and look up the topic and then come back. So let's get started. Before we dive into talking about child themes, I want to just introduce myself. My name is Amber Victoria. If you don't know me already, I am a creative person. I am a dancer and just a creative person in general, and I love bringing creativity to all the work that I do. I also am a nature lover, so as you can tell by my brand, Creative Chrysalis, the butterfly, evolution and stuff, I am really into advocating for the natural environment and sustainable ways of living with the natural environment. So in my work with tech and entrepreneurship and anything in art in general, I'm always trying to bring that naturalistic perspective and reverence for the earth in everything that I do. I'm also an entrepreneur, and of course I'm the founder of Creative Chrysalis. I do design. I was going to say we're an agency. We're not an agency. I'm just myself. I'm a web designer and a developer. I'm also a tech enthusiast in general, so I'm really interested in helping to support social technology, and that's really what the mission of Creative Chrysalis is all about. To bring in art and creativity. I am a developer. I've really only been calling myself a developer for the last year and a half or so, so I'm definitely still new at it, and WordPress is the first environment that I ever worked in using HTML, and I've been working with WordPress for quite a few years now actually, and just in the last little while have I learned other, dived into building web applications using other frameworks like Ruby on Rails, and so I've started to call myself a front-end developer, and that's really helped inform my perspective on WordPress and how awesome it is. So, and of course, I'm also a teacher, which is why I'm doing this, sharing this with you all today. So, hope you enjoy it. As a newbie developer, let's talk about some of the things that we struggle with. So, newbie developer woes. I know these, you may know these, they're very familiar to me. So firstly, number one, we don't know what we want to work on. We have a lot of ideas usually, but we don't know exactly what to do or where to start. We also are overwhelmed by making things from scratch. There's a lot of different reasons that this is overwhelming, but as someone who's new to front-end development and or design, we want to prove our skills. We want to get good at all the things. But the reality is that creating, a website specifically in this case from scratch, even using WordPress, which is a platform that has so many amazing learning tools, it can be a lot to navigate and a lot to deal with. And if you're building something from scratch and you get stuck somewhere, you can't move on to something else and then come back and address it later, or just put it away and then maybe you'll work on it another time or get help with it. If you're building something from scratch, you really can't go any further until you figure out the thing that you broke or that you don't know how to do. So that's a problem. We also learn most by breaking things. So I've learned this through trial and error, that the best way for me to understand a concept or implement something that I've learned is to break it and then fix it. So not necessarily building it from scratch, that's different than taking something that's working properly, breaking it, and then fixing it. So that's the best way to learn. We also underestimate the time that it takes to make something that we will want to show off, something that we'll want to put in our portfolio, something that we'll be proud of. Newbie developers, we do this. We're so guilty of this all the time because we're usually very enthusiastic and we just don't have the experience to know, oh my gosh, well, this project is actually going to take, 50 hours or 10 hours or whatever it may be. And so especially it goes back to building something from scratch. So when we try to build something from scratch, we realize how long it takes and all the different things that go into making a WordPress website. And it can be really daunting and discouraging for a lot of people. So all this creates what I call a high barrier to entry for new developers. So these frustrations are what led me to discover WordPress Child themes. And I hope that when exploring this topic, you can see how you can apply WordPress Child themes in your own work to help make things easier for you. So first of all, what is a child theme? Well, in WordPress, according to WP Apprentice, a child theme is a special kind of WordPress theme that inherits all of the design elements of its parent theme. Why do we want to use a child theme? Well, according to WP Beginner, you want to use a child theme if you want to customize or tweak an existing WordPress theme without losing the ability to upgrade that theme and all the custom styling and changes that you have made. So a couple different ways of saying that there are WordPress themes that people have made and they work and they're updated every so often. And if you want to change that theme, you can only do so much. Otherwise, certain types of changes that you will be making will be overridden by the update when your theme gets updated. So enter the child theme. When do you want to use a child theme? Well, you should do it if you're going to be adding to the functions.php file and or you're going to be using more than a few pieces of custom CSS. So in other words, if you're going to be creating custom functions and or if you're going to be really creating a lot of custom styles on your site. So more than just needing to change the background color of your site. That's when you would want to use a child theme. You don't want to use a child theme if you're making minor CSS tweaks only, as I mentioned. So you can use the built-in WordPress editor for that. And as we'll see later, the editor is useful, for different applications. But if you're not sure if you need a child theme, then you probably want to do some more research about what it is that you want to change about any existing WordPress theme that you have implemented on your site to understand a little bit better where you fall into these two categories. So if you're ready to create a child theme, let's go. In this tutorial, what we're going to cover are 3 different methods for creating the child theme. So the first one is the manual method. The second one is FTP. And the third is using a plugin. We'll also cover some tips, and there will be a space for you to contact me if you have any questions. What you need in order to accomplish this is a WordPress installation. So recommend either using a development environment, a development site, or using a website that isn't live yet, so that anything that you're creating, you're not making something that you're going to break and then it's going to affect your live website. So that's what I would recommend as a last case scenario. You can create your child theme and edit it on a website that is live. That's not recommended. You're also going to need a text editor specifically for the manual and the FTP methods, which are recommended that you get familiar with either or both of these methods before using the plugin. So a text editor, definitely. If you don't have a text editor, go ahead and pause the video and do some research on, best text editors for a PC, best text editors for a Mac. Go ahead and download that and then pop back on here. Okay, you're also going to need an FTP account if you're going to use the FTP method. And you need an internet connection so that you can upload your child theme to WordPress. So let's jump right into the manual method. There are multiple different steps. So I'm going to be hopping around here and giving you some more insight on how to do this. So let's follow along. The first step is to go ahead and create a new folder named after the parent theme that you're using. So in WordPress, if the theme that you're using is called Breathion, for example, then you're going to create a new folder on your computer called Breathion-child. So again, that's just the name of your theme and then -child. And then you want to create a style.css file. So here I am on my computer and I've made a folder for the child theme, wherever you keep your WordPress files on your computer. We're doing the manual method. So I went ahead and made a folder and then I made a style.css file. I'm going to go ahead and open that file in my text editor. So here we are. And now we're going to add relevant content to the style sheet based on our needs for the child theme. So this is some sample code. It's really just a comment that we're going to add to the style.css file. The name of the file is style.css, not styles.css. That's a typo. So we're going to include the theme name, the theme URI, which is where the theme is going to be used, a description of the theme, the author, and the template. The two things that are really highly recommended are the theme name and the template. So go ahead and do that. Great. So now I have my style.css file. I'm going to go ahead and make sure it's saved. And the next step is to create the functions.php file in the same folder. So here, let's go ahead and create the functions.php file. That here. Great. So now we have our functions.php file, and we're going to add this script to our file, which is going to include the parent theme. So this is going to say, this is going to be in our functions.php file. We're going to add this code, which is going to tell WordPress when it opens this file and reads it, it's going to tell WordPress that the style sheet, actually the main style sheet that it's going to be calling on is the style sheet of the parent theme. So go ahead and take a minute to do this. Pause the video. Put this code in your functions.php. Okay, great. So your text editor in your functions.php file should look something like this. Here's your script. Make sure it's saved. And now on to the next step. So for the manual method, the next step is to zip the child theme folder that we've made. And then we're going to go into WordPress and make sure that the parent theme is active. So for this example, I'm using the Breathion theme, and I'm making a child theme for that theme specifically. So I'm going to go into my WordPress development site and make sure that the Breathion parent theme is active. So I'm going to zip the child theme folder, go into WordPress, and then upload that zipped child theme into the theme page on WordPress. So go ahead and do that. So for me, what that means is on my Mac, I'm going to come to this folder that I've made and Control click, and then I'm going to come down to compress. Going to make a zip. Great. So now I have this zip file. Now I can go into my, wherever it is that we are working in WordPress. I'm using my development site. Go into the dashboard, appearance, themes, and then scroll down. I'm going to make sure that the Breathian theme is activated. Great. And then this is from a previous work. So this is not the child theme that I just made, but so ignore that. So I'm making this Breathian. This is my parent theme. I'm making a child theme. So now I'm going to take it's activated. So now I'm going to add a new theme. I'm going to go to upload a theme. Choose file from my computer. Find that folder that I made, the zip. There it is. And upload. Then we're going to click install. And that will work as long as you don't have another theme named the exact same thing on your site. So that's why I got the error, because I already have a theme named this. So for this example, now I have my Breathian child theme. I'm going to activate it. The next step, as we saw, is to activate the theme, and we actually want to check and make sure that it's working and that we didn't break our site. So I'm going to hop back over to my WordPress site. And visit the site to make sure it's not broken. Yep, still works. Great. So that is the manual method. Now let's move on to the FTP method. So the first few steps are going to be the same as the manual method. So what we're going to do is we're still going to create a file on our local machine, create a folder, and then create a style.css file inside of that child theme folder. From there, for FTP, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to want to log into our FTP cPanel through our FTP account, whatever that is. So I use Bluehost, so that's what I'm going to do. So if you're not familiar with this, then you can just follow along and not use FTP, or if you're ready to go ahead and log into your FTP account, you can do that now. So now that you've logged into your FTP account, you want to navigate to your cPanel, go to WP Content for the site that you're using for this child theme, and then go into Themes. And from there, you can actually upload the child theme folder that you just made locally on your computer. And you can usually just drag and drop it, or you can upload, just hit the manual upload button. And in your dashboard in WordPress, the next step, so step number 7, is to go back to WordPress. In your dashboard, navigate to your themes page, refresh the page if you're not already there, and you should see that child theme. So we have another step that we need to implement for the FTP method, which is to import the styles from the parent theme. So we haven't done that yet. So in WordPress, in our dashboard, we want to go to Appearance, Editor, and then we want to write this import statement in the editor at the top of the file. So import URL and then the file path. So the file path should be the name of the parent theme, which for this example, I'm using Breathian, and then the name of the file that we're importing. So anything that we write after this import statement will override those parent styles. So again, that's the WordPress appearance, editor, and then we're going to write this code. So let's go ahead and do that. At least take a look at where that is. So I'm going to go into my dashboard, come down to Appearance, and then come down here to the editor. And this is where we will put this code. So go ahead and do that. Great. Then you can go ahead and start editing your child theme. Next, we're going to look at the plugin method. So as I mentioned in the beginning, this is something that is not recommended, number one, because plugins can get crazy. You don't want to be the type of developer that tries to just use an insane number of plugins to solve all your problems, because it is going to decrease the load time of your site, and it can just really clog up some things, and you can run into issues with updates and stuff like that. So only use the plugin if, number one, you've been able to use either the manual or the FTP method, and so you really understand more like what it is that you're doing in creating these files and how the child theme relates to the parent theme. So that's the first thing I'd say. But the plugin that I found that we're going to use today is really cool. And so especially if you're, if you're using this in a lot in your daily like work environment, then I would definitely say check out the plugin. It makes it easy to also save, child themes that you have made and edited and upload them to other sites as well. Of course, you can do that manually, but the plugin can be fun to play with. So let's look at it. So first we want to install and activate the plugin on your site, of course, and the name of the plugin that we're going to be using today is called the Child Theme Configurator. So you can find it in WordPress by looking up in your plugins, look up Child Theme Configurator, or you can click the link in this presentation and let's see. So this is the plugin that we're going to be using. It's called the Child Theme Configurator. And if we are going to upload it to our site, we can go to our dashboard, plugins, and then go to add new. And here I'm going to search for Child Theme Configurator. Oh, there it is. So I've already activated it on my site. Here it is. So we want to find this and activate it. Next, we want to go into the tools area in our WordPress dashboard and check out the child theme tab that we have there now and generate a new child theme. So here I am, I'm going to go to tools. Now we might need to refresh the page after we've activated the plugin, but we should see child themes here. I'm going to click on that. And then I'm going to come down to create a new child theme. And here I'm going to select the parent theme that I'm using. So for me, it's Breathion. Then I'm going to click Analyze. Definitely check through your warnings here. This is just an example because I've already created this child theme here. Do you want to name the new theme directory? Again, it's the name of the parent theme and then a dash and then the word child. We want to select where to save these new styles. So let's hop over here to our best practices. So after we have gone through these steps, we can add the styles that will overwrite the parent theme. But before we do that, we want to finish actually creating this child theme using the plugin. So this plugin is going to do everything for us. There is documentation on the plugin. You definitely want to learn about what these different things are. And again, as I mentioned, be able to read through any error codes that you might get during the analyzation. So go ahead and do that. Pause the video if you need a few minutes to figure out what your presets or what your check marks are going to be here, and then go ahead and click create a new child theme. Then you want to activate it in your themes panel. So after you do that, your child theme will show up here, and you want to go ahead and activate it. Great. Another cool thing about the plugin is that you can switch between the view of the parent and the child CSS files. So going here to tools, and if we go back to child themes, or no, actually, that's not correct. We want to go into appearance and then go down to the editor. And you'll see up here, it says select theme to edit. So right now, this is the style.css file for the Breathian child theme that we made. I can also go back to the Breathian theme and look at its style sheet. So of course, there's a lot more going on over here. And that's a great way to sort of look and see what styles are being applied to the parent theme, and you can switch back and forth. So that's a great additional use of this plugin. So now that we've looked at 3 different methods for using, implementing a child theme on our website, we looked at the manual method, the FTP method, and the plugin method. So just a couple tips, not going to go too in depth into development here, but customize. CSS is my fave. So you can, few different ways you can actually, if you're new to front-end development and not sure what different styles, or tags might be being applied to a certain specific part of your site, then you can actually use these different resources. So I would say a great tool is the Chrome Inspector tool. If you're not familiar with that, definitely find this resource on the slides and check out Google's documentation on their inspector tool and how to use it. It's a really amazing way to see what's happening in terms of the style sheet, specifically for this example, on really any website, any portion of any website, you can actually use the inspector tool to see what different styles are being applied to any area that you hover over or click on a website. So for your own site, that's super useful. If you don't know, how to reference the padding around an element in your footer, you don't know how to change that if you don't know how to reference it. So the inspector tool will show you the code that's actually being applied at that specific location that you want to edit, and then you can sort of copy that and paste it into your editor and change it as you need to on your child theme. So that's a great resource. You can also find custom CSS styles that have been made, for custom elements on the web to play with in your child theme style sheet. So this is really finding stuff that other people have made, custom elements that they've made, that you can use their code and implement it on your site. Definitely takes some tweaking as well. It's a good learning experience. You can also find templates from your parent theme to edit using the plugin. So it's we went over that a little bit, and there's a link resource here in terms of actually generating a template of a file like the style.css file from your parent theme. The plugin allows you to do that. And then you can basically copy the entire file and it puts it in your child theme editor area. So some additional tips before we say goodbye. As I mentioned in the beginning, I definitely recommend learning the manual or the FTP method first in terms of creating a child theme and putting it live on your site. Then use the plugin after you've learned this. Also, I recommend using a development site instead of a live website when you are making a child theme. This is just best practice because if your site's live and you're making edits and then you break something, it's real time. So in order to not affect the experience of users that are visiting your site, it's best practice to use a development site. And if you need some more resources or information on how to do that, feel free to reach out to me. And of course, lastly, have fun. This is why I got into web development and design. It's because I feel like it's a really great creative outlet, and it's so amazing that we have these tools in our modern age to be able to share ideas on the web. It's so awesome. And remember to always have fun, because in the end, it shouldn't be something that you hate doing, or you should probably pay someone to do it. So here are some resources. Again, these slides are available for download on our website on creativechrysalis.me. So you can find any of these links are clickable if you find those slides. So questions, feel free to email me or hit me up. Thank you so much for watching this. The slide, the download URL is creativechrysalis.me/child-theme-tutorial. And you can email me. I'm amber@creativechrysalis.me. And you can also follow me. I'm mainly on Instagram right now. So you can follow me at Amber Victoria Creative. Feel free to send me a message. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial and that you get something out of it. And I'd love to hear from you. So thanks. Have a great day.